the first Saturday in July, and it's a very frosty morning. The temperature at the moment is still only about 3 degrees, and everything, all the grass and everything behind the dunes there is white with frost. But it's the new moon tomorrow, so today, tomorrow and the Monday should be the best days for fishing around high tide on the beach here, provided the fish actually show up. I forgot to bring my GoPro. I got it packed ready to bring and I just didn't put it in the car. And I normally have a harness in the car that I can put my phone in, but I've taken it inside to do some adjustments, so I don't have it either. So it's a beautiful, beautiful morning. It is cold, and I got thermals and 2 pairs of socks on. But hopefully some salmon show up. The last couple of weeks I've only been seeing small salmon, nothing much over 30 centimetres, and few fish at that. I'm about 600 metres from the car park, and you can see that the weed that was over a metre high in piles there has now been distributed more evenly across the cobbles. There's still a lot of weed in the water there, still some here, but up to the right it looks much more weed free. So it's because it's such a clear fine day, and I'm not expecting to need to use jigs bigger than 60 grams. I'm using a different rod today. I'm using the Nobi A6 surf jigging rod, the 1062 MH. 1062 is the 10'6" model, medium heavy, means that it's lighter than the heavy one which I used last time. So the heavy one can cast jigs up to 80 or 90 grams. This one is rated for lures up to 60 grams maximum, and about 15 grams minimum, which is a decent range. So, and if there are only really small salmon or flathead around and nothing big comes in, I might go down to using even jigs as small as 15 grams, and so this rod is much more suitable for that. Today on it I've got my twin power, the Shimano twin power C5000 XG, so it's got the high gear ratio. It does about 1 metre of retrieve per handle turn. This is one of my favourite reels because it's also a lightweight model. It's actually like only about 2/3 the weight of the normal aluminium reels. And to start off with the lure, I'm using the Jigging Pro 30 gram tungsten. It's a great lure. I can cast it a long way with this rod. I can cast it over 80 metres. I've got a small hook on the tail and 2 small hooks on the head. At first I'm not likely to get fish much over 30 centimetres. And if I do start getting bigger fish, then I'll change to a larger lure with bigger hooks, so that when I hook the fish, hopefully they stay hooked. Alright, so let's give it a shot, see if we can catch some fish. Because I don't have my camera harness or my GoPro with me, I've just taped my phone to my bag strap, the shoulder strap of my my fishing bag. And I'm going to see if I can get it to work like that, where I can video whilst I'm fishing. I don't know how I might need to frig around with it a bit to get it so that it actually points at the water. Oh, that was a thundering wave. Here comes another one. Okay, that was a school of mullet. There's a school of mullet just there. I can see there's dozens and dozens of them. Oh, there's got to be at least 50 mullet just there. And so they're mullet, not salmon. I don't know if those are the fish who followed my lure or not before. Because I'm standing in the sun and I'm walking and I'm casting and there's not much breeze, I got really hot, so I've had to take all my thermal layers off. Okay, let's try further out the right. I'm getting closer to the big reef. So I'm going to cast out there. Oh, here comes a rolling wave. It's definitely easier walking on this weed than it is walking on the cobbles in terms of comfort, if nothing else. I just hooked a decent sized fish out here on the left hand edge of the reef. And I was trying to get the phone video turned on and the fish swam towards me and then spat the hook. So anyway, at least it was the first fish I've had hooked up. I think if I'd had, depending on the, yeah, I'm not sure, it felt more like a flathead actually, to be honest. But it might have been a, if I'd had larger hooks, then it may well have stayed hooked. But with these small hooks on this small lure, I managed to spit the hooks while I stopped winding to get the camera going. Got to be careful casting out where I am because there's black basalt rocks and they're really weathered and pitted and also very abrasive, so they'll actually catch your lure and it's almost impossible to pull them off once you're snagged on basalt. Got him. Yep, this time he's solidly hooked. Got a fish at last, a good sized one too. Yeah, it's pretty much the same spot as I hooked the one that got off a moment ago, so I dare say there might be a school of fish there, which is great. Now, it's a bit novel this because I've got the camera on my phone is taped to my shoulder strap of my bag because of I forgot the harness and I forgot my GoPro. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how well this video turns out. Anyway, I'm looking right now for a place to land the fish. I want a place where the waves will actually push it fairly high up, because I want to get it up over this parapet of weed here. Oh, it's a nice fish. Oh, there's holy mackerel. There's like 20 of them. Like the one on my hook, and there was another 20. Another 20 odd fish following the one that I've got on the hook. That was so cool. Yep, he's pretty solidly hooked, but they're only small hooks. And if I try to pull him up out of the water, even though it's only about 1.5 meters to get up on the weeds here, if I try to pull him up, I'll almost certainly pull the hooks out. So I've just got to wait, just be patient, wait for the right wave, and then let the wave wash him up, and then just get him up over the weeds. He's definitely over 1 kilo. See if we can see him in the shallows there. Beautiful, beautiful salmon. He's over 50 centimeters and probably 1.5 kilos at a guess, I'd say. Okay, here comes some waves. There's a wave coming. So what I'll do now is I'll tighten my drag just a little. If the fish makes a run, I'll point my rod at him so the rod's not adding to the drag. Here we go. No, I missed the wave. Okay. Yeah, I probably should have come up here a bit further because that wave didn't come that far down. Here we go. Yo, woohoo! How cool is that? Oh, what a fish. That is a magnificent salmon. Oh, it's not quite as fat as some of the others I've caught recently, but he's definitely maybe 1.5 kilos. The nice thing about this is I can just dump my rod and reel on this weed and it's not going to get damaged by cobbles and stuff. Alright, let's get this guy unhooked and back in the water. I was just about to change to a larger lure and then fish started busting bait on the surface there, and I don't know how long they're going to be here. So yeah, I was going to go up to like a 45 gram lure with bigger hooks, but I'm just going to have a few casts just now, just while the fish are still busting bait, because I'd rather catch the fish that I can see with the lure I've got rather than change lures. Oh, I just had a hit. I think it was a hit. Okay, let's try that again. I felt like I hit, but it might have just been something funny happening with the wave. Oh, this casts beautifully, this rod. Look about where I hooked the fish I just landed a minute ago. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there are any fish or where I landed the lure. Alright, so I'm going to cast straight out in front of me now, because over the reef there is where I saw the bait fish jumping. But I have to be careful because of the basalt. The basalt, it's some places it's less than a metre under the water. So I do a long cast, and as soon as it hits the water, I close my bail arm and I wind in fast, holding the rod up high. And what that does is keeps the lure on the surface. And now I'm jigging it, but I'm not letting it sink. So I'm keeping it like in the top ½ metre of water. Now, when there are big waves, you can't do this, because like the big waves will lift it up high, but in the trough between the waves, sometimes your lure will get dumped right down onto the rocks. So it's only safe to do this kind of jigging over the reef like this basalt reef. It's only safe to do it when the waves are not big enough to have troughs that drop down to the rocks on the bottom. Okay, no. God, there were fish here, but they've moved. It's not quite high tide yet, so I'm still hopeful that more fish might come. A couple more casts and I'm going to go to a 40-gram jig to get it further out. Ah, got one. That's only a little one. I had a hit, but I thought it was a wave, but no, it's just a little salmon. Not bad. I mean, he's over 30 centimetres. Maybe half the size of the one I landed a minute ago. Well, it shows that it's still here and he's willing to eat my little jig, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to pull him up, even though he's still got fight left, just the wave's coming. I want to get this wave. So I'll wait for the wave. Now go. Woo! There we go. So he's a bit skinnier than the other one, but he's about 40 centimetres. Yeah, so on the 30-gram Jigging Pro tungsten, he's about 40 centimetres and probably about 600, 700 grams. So I've just changed my lure to the Jigging Pro tungsten 40-gram. Now, because, sorry, let me see if I can get in the screen. Here we go. So yeah, it's a 40-gram silver tungsten jig, holographic paint, rear weighted, so it casts long. I've got 2 assist hooks on the head. It's a Icema size 15 hooks and an Icema size 15 hook on the tail. I've got pink tinsel on the tail and pearl tinsel on the head, but that doesn't really matter. It's just what I had at the time, I guess, when I was rigging it up. Now, even though it's a brand new jig and it's got hooks on that I've made these assist hooks myself, I always check the hooks are sharp before casting and going for fish, because even if they were sharp when I put them on the lure, in storage they can just, through oxidation or whatever, they can lose sharpness, or sometimes, you know, just the hook might bump on a bit of metal and just blunt the tip of it. So the way to test the sharpness is hold the hook like this with the point vertically down towards your thumbnail or fingernail and dig it in, and it should dig in like this and not skid across. Right, so that digs in straight away. And again, this one digs in straight away. Whoop, the water's coming up. It's just about high tide now. And then, yeah, digs in straight. So they're all very, very sharp, which is exactly what I want. So that if I do get a big fish, I've got a chance of actually hooking it well enough so that the hooks stay in the fish and I can land it. All right, so that's a good long cast. That's about 90 metres, right at the edge of the reef that's out there. Letting it sink and then jigging it in. That one was only about 85 metres because my finger slipped. The line slipped off my finger as I was casting, so I didn't get full power. It's just about high tide right now. That's a better cast. It's right out there. Got him. Yep. Oh, good, good, good. So that fish was only about 40 metres out. It's actually in the reef ends about 40 metres out and then it's sand. So that fish was actually right at the interface, right at the edge between the sand and the reef. This feels like a fish of about 1 kilo. Actually, it might be bigger. It didn't fight that hard at first, but now it's really pulling. Oh, yeah. No, it's about 1 kilo. Okay, just got to wait for a wave. This is the small. Oh, it looks like he's got 2 hooks in him. Yeah, he's got 1 hook in the mouth and another one in his gills. So this, yeah, he should be fine. The wave will wash him up now. Here we go. Yep, beautiful. There we go. That's another salmon, about 1 kilo. Whoop. Beautiful salmon of about 1 kilo. Yep, you see. Oh look, so he's got 1 hook in the mouth and the other one in his pectoral fin. The only way he was going to get off is if I broke him off. Woo! That got me. Refreshing. That water's cold. It's still only about 8 degrees. Even though I've got my sleeves rolled up like it's a summer day, it's still only 8 degrees here. The one nice thing about this is we've got a... Oh, I missed him. I missed the fish and then I hooked my leader. So, if the fish... Oh no, I've got a fish. I thought I hooked my leader, but I got a little salmon. How's that? I would say this 40-gram silver tungsten jig from Jigging Pro, I've caught more salmon on it this year than I have on any other lure. It's a really good small bait fish size, about 6 centimetres long. It's got really good silver holographic paint. It actually swims well. Most tungsten jigs, they don't swim so well, but the Jigging Pro have designed this really well. It's got a slightly dished surface on one side, and it's rear weighted, which is what you want for shore jigging. You want the jig to be rear weighted so that when you're casting, the back of the jig goes first and it fires like a bullet. That nearly got me. My phone battery's getting low, it's down to 20%, and I just hooked another fish. So I'm only going to film now when I've actually got a fish on. Anyway, I just hooked another one. It's not big, but it's probably 40 centimetres, between 1/2 kilo and 1 kilo, I'd say, or maybe. Here comes a wave. I'll try to get him up with, oh no, it's a smaller one than that. It's just the way he's hooked, I guess. Whoop! There we go. He's about 35 centimetres. Yeah, let me see if I can get him in the camera. Sure, there we go. Beautiful fish. My phone's just about out of battery and I wasn't getting any more fish up at the reef, so I've moved up the beach a few 100 metres and I just lost a good fish here and then found this. So that's a dead yellow-eyed mullet. And that's, I think that's what the big salmon are chasing, which is why when I'm using an 80-gram jig, it's not too big for these fish because they're chasing bait fish that, like that little mullet is about 20 centimetres long. So even a big stick bait would work when the salmon are chasing bait fish that size.